Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Life is But a Dream. This podcast episode, I have been excited to film since I thought about what I wanted to talk about on my podcast. And as a dating coach, I'm here to tell you that if it feels like dating is hard in 2025, it's not just you, it's the shift in culture. But I'm here to put your mind at ease and not only tell you on why it's so hard and why it's so different, but how you can actually go from it being hard to you thriving in it and getting the exact relationships that you want. In my credentials, just so you guys know, I am in a happy, healthy relationship that is not only prioritizing our own healing and emotional intelligence, but we are promoting it in each other. And that has led us to be radically honest with people, which I have an episode on that with people, but within our relationship, to truly figure out what our true authenticity looks like, being loving and accepting and having those tough conversations and constantly being open to growth and compromise and connection. So I'm gonna just hop right in and say the first reason why dating feels so different is because we have a choice overload. When you think about it, before dating apps and social media, your dating pool was essentially your village, your community, your city, maybe your state, depending on where you went out, when you went out. It was very condensed to your social experience in person. And now, because of the internet, we have far more options, which has led people to have far less commitment. When you think about it, when you have thousands of options, technically millions of options, your commitment goes down because if something doesn't go right, if someone isn't that perfect image that you want, or people aren't acting the way you want them to be, they don't meet these high expectations that you've set for yourself, that might be coming from social media and different things, then you're just gonna want to swipe left or swipe right, whichever way it is. You're just gonna be swiping and swiping, looking for the next new thing, the next thing that's going to boost your dopamine, the next thing that goes into my next point, which is that we live in an instant gratification society nowadays. People are swiping for validation and not connection. Swiping for validation looks like, instead of you swiping based off of you wanting to build a great connection, it's you are swiping just for the pure satisfaction of knowing that people are agreeing to match with you, agreeing to spend time with you, agreeing to talk to you. That gives you a boost of dopamine. It gives you that gratification. It gives you that validation. And when you think about it, when you're constantly seeking that exterior validation, you lose practice on giving yourself your interior validation, which is what's going to leave you feeling the most happy and gratified in the long run. Another reason why modern dating feels so different is because the masculinity and femininity polarities are so blurred that people don't really know how to show up in relationships nowadays. As I've kind of talked in a previous episode, this doesn't necessarily mean that something's wrong. It just means that people are, as time goes on, are constantly exposed to the fact that gender roles are a social construct. You know, not sex. Sex is based off of biology, but as far as gender, that's a social construct. And so as people are starting to play around with that, play around with different gender roles, as far as, you know, women going out and being the hustlers, the providers, the ones providing security, and some men not wanting to do that, them wanting to be submissive, not wanting to make the decisions, not wanting to step up in leadership. You know, those lines are being blurred and people just don't know how to show up. They don't want to offend anyone. They don't want to step on anyone's toes, or maybe they just don't mesh well. People are showing up in a way that they feel like they have to, or people are showing up in a way that they aren't realizing isn't going to work out for them in the long run if they are looking for a specific masculine and feminine relationship. because that balance, that duality has showed for a long time that if done responsibly and in a healthy way, it leads to great success in a relationship. You know, in all of us, we have duality, we have a balance. And when we have a partner that reflects that side of us that we get to balance. Also, with social media, performative dating is a huge thing. People not having true, genuine connections, but they just want the look of a good relationship. They think that they look good together. They think that they can get a lot of likes. They think that they can make a lot of money, or whatever the case may be. And that's not exactly the reality, is that they're not actually compatible. They're just looking to be performative. So a reminder that you can give yourself is that it's not that love doesn't exist. It's that distraction often hides it from us. So one challenge that people are finding that they're facing in modern dating is ghosting and breadcrumbing. Ghosting as in, you know, instead of taking the opportunity to communicate an unmet need or to communicate some type of miscommunication or whatever the case may be, they just ghost and swipe on to the next. And, you know, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but does that work for you? Where else in your life do you choose to not put effort into something and just go on to the next thing and go on to the next thing instead of actually giving it the time that it deserves? Because at the end of the day, that is a person. That is someone with a past. That is someone who has hurt. That is someone who has wants and just wants love as well. And so it sounds corny, it sounds cliche, but you know, that leads into my next thing, is that people are treating dating like a game instead of a serious thing. And you know, a serious thing meaning, like I said, we are talking about communicating and spending time with other human beings with thoughts, emotions, insecurities, whatever the case may be. And instead of taking the opportunity to foster that and help be a part of someone's healing journey and finding peace and love, we are a part of the problem that is allowing people to continue to stay in their pain bodies, to stay in their insecurities, to stay in their limiting beliefs, to run away from love, to stay in fear, and not create those genuine connections that we all neurologically, scientifically, at the core of us want, and that is love and connection. And if we aren't striving towards that, it's because we're coming from one of our core emotions, one of two, which is love and fear. It's coming from fear. So I've said this in a past episode, constantly ask yourself if you're coming from love or if you're coming from fear. Next thing is that insecurities and comparisons are amplified with social media. We are not only creating insecurities within ourselves, maybe us thinking, oh, well, I don't look as good as these other people on social media, so I'm not deserving of love. And so we might hold ourselves back instead of actually going for different relationships, or comparing other people to what we see on social media. Oh, he's not buying me a private jet on the first date. Oh, he's not taking me here, or he's not doing this or doing that. You know, that's comparing to something you're seeing on social media. And a lot of the times what you are declaring that you want, you're not even aligned energetically in order to attract that. So we're letting insecurities and comparisons talk us out of genuine connections and getting to know people. And it's because it's coming from fear. And the last thing is that people are lacking clear intentions, which that leads to situationships. Because people have lack of clarity within their intentions, it's leaving the door open for interpretation, leaves the door open to insecurities arising, leaves the door open to different people coming into the relationship unknowingly. And so that's not allowing someone to focus on what's in front of them, who is in front of them, the being that is in front of them, and not allowing themselves to make the conscious decision if this person right in front of me is going to work for me long term or not. Instead is looking for A, B, C, D alternatives, and just that creates confusion, that creates an overwhelming amount of input into our minds, into what we actually think we want. But in reality, it's not going to give us the results that we want. It's going to create division. So you might be asking, how do I win? How do I do better now that I acknowledge all these things? And I'm going to tell you. Number one is clarity. Know what you want before you go looking. If you go out into the world and you're willing to grasp, take up time, and just shop around for everything, then you're going to end up with things that you don't want. You're going to end up with things that don't actually align with the relationships that you want to be having. You're going to grab things that aren't congruent with the life that you want, with the people that you actually want. And you're just going to be bombarded with a bunch of options that you don't even know what to do with. Clarity is going to filter out all the things, all the people specifically, that you don't want in order to find what you do actually want. Standards and boundaries is the next thing, and that is going to protect your time and your energy. If you have standards and you have boundaries, I have another episode that I talked about this. That will filter your time and the people that you let into your life so much. Your standards and your boundaries are reflections of who you are as a person. You know, if you have the standard that you like consistency, then you get to be consistent with yourself. If you have the standard that you want a healthy partner, then you get to be healthy for yourself. They will just be an add-on because you will not attract the energy that you are not. The next thing that will help you in dating is stop the performing and just be authentic. Authenticity means that you are showing up as who you truly are, not as a persona or an ego that you felt like you had to put on and be in order to protect yourself or in order to be happy. You know, ask yourself and do the healing work. It takes a lot of work to become your true authentic self, because we've told ourselves that we have to wear all these different masks in order to protect ourselves from the hurt that we've experienced in the past. And the last thing that's going to help you date successfully is dating in the present moment. That means when you're dating, you're not bringing in pain from your past, coming from insecurities, saying, oh, you know, in your mind saying, oh, well, my ex did this, my ex cheated on me and did this and that, and whatever the case may be, and then projecting that fear and insecurity onto your new partner. That's living from the past. That's not being present. And I have an episode about being present and living in the power of now as well, if you want to check that out. And what will also give you success in dating is not living from future fantasies. You know, a lot of the times we see someone and we think that they have potential, and we stay with them and we work on them. We call this Barbara the Builders, who will build up a man, or vice versa, a man who will build up a woman because they see the potential that they have, and they fall in love with the possibility of them becoming better, or them becoming who they feel like they do deserve, or feel like they can fix them, or that they can have them become the partner that they actually want. But in reality, it would save you so much more time to actually go find what you truly want instead of trying to change people, because you can't change people, babe. They have to want to change for themselves, and then you then get to reap the benefits. You can inspire people, but again, that is not your job. You get to be the source for your own life. Whatever you want, you get to be yourself, because that is what you will attract. And always remember that the right person will not be confused about you. The wrong people will always keep you guessing. The wrong people will always leave you feeling insecure or empty, but the right people will reassure you and be that perspective that changes for you, makes you think, oh, actually, love does exist. Oh, wait, I am actually capable of having a true connection with people instead of looking for instant gratifications and looking for the next and looking for the next. If that works for you, that's great, but I invite you to ask where that comes from and if that's going to give you long-term results of feeling connected, feeling loved, and feeling true loyalty and trust. So to wrap things up, dating in 2025 feels different because the world is different. But the core of love has not changed. Trust, alignment, and connection. If you hold to your standards, stay present, and know your values, you can thrive in any new landscape. So I invite you to ask yourself, what is your biggest struggle in modern dating today? Leave a comment, DM me, let me know, let's have a conversation. I would love to unpack it in another episode. If you are listening to this right now, thank you so much. You are the reason why I'm here. You are the reason why I'm sharing this information, and I hope it holds value. If you think that someone could benefit from this, hint, everyone could benefit from this, like, comment, share this to your friends, share this to your group chats, share this to your exes, share this to the people in your life where relationships didn't end up working out, because maybe this holds some answers for them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.